Have you ever wondered how to set loose gems? Today I'm going to show you how, and we're going to be making a bezel set cabochon ring. A lot of you have been asking to see this project where we take beads that don't have holes and set them into rings. And it's just something that I kind of figured out how to do because I had a lot of cabochons sitting around, which are gemstones with no holes. They have flat backs. And I had a lot of these bead caps that I was able to flatten out into sheet to wrap around them to kind of hold them like little bezels. And then I made them into rings. I've done some earrings, and it's just a great way to make jewelry without having to solder. Let's go over some of the tools and supplies we need for this project. We need some cabochons, or if you want, you can do coins or charms that will cut the loop off of. But you need to make sure that you have a bead or bead cap that's going to fit underneath the cabochon. For example, these are a bunch of bead caps that I got from JTV. And when you flatten it out, you want your little cabochon or charm to set in the center. Also, we have these beads at JTV that are amazing for this project. And they're basically filigree beads that you can pry open like this. This is just 1/2 of one. And then you can flatten them out with a hammer and use them in the same way. You need a hammer and a bench block, a ring mandrel. I have this nylon drum in case sometimes I use it when I'm flattening metal to put over it to prevent it from marring my piece. And then you're gonna need some tools. You're gonna need a flat nose plier, chain nose, a flush cutter, a nylon jaw plier, and then you'll need some wire. And here I have an assortment. I have 24 gauge and 20 gauge. Sometimes it depends on the size bead and the size bead cap that you're using. So just have an assortment of wire. And once we go along, I'll get into that more. All right, so let's get started. Pick out your beads and gather them. And then also pick up your either filigree beads or bead caps, and we can start kind of matching up the shapes and sizes of what can go together. So with this filigree bead, I'm going to hammer it lightly to get it started so that the edges kind of pop out, and then you can use a tool to pry it open. And now that you've done this, you can flatten them out on your bench block, just gently put them face down and kind of tap them out. So now they make a cute little star shape. This is the point too. If you have one of these, you can put it on top, and it really gets it nice and flat. So that's one way to do it. But the thing about the bead caps that's great is that they're already in half for you. So all you do with these is hammer them. So then those are ready to go. So here's another example of one I've already hammered out. This is one of the filigree beads. It's really great for bezels, which I think that one would look great with that turquoise. So say you want to set this little charm, it's just a flat little coin. You would want to cut that little loop off the top, the flush cutter. And now it's ready to go. So I'm going to try and set this cabochon with this bead cap. And really, I find the circle shape is the easiest to set. So if you can, try to start with that. And what I'm gonna do is just, with my flat nose plier, I'm gonna look visually and see where I need to make my 4 folds going north, south, east, west on this. So I'm gonna start with the top one, move my cabochon down a little bit, and bend it. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing underneath. And it really does help to go north, south, east, west, because then it starts to have something to hold it. Start it with my hand this time, just to make sure it's nice and close. And then I'm going to do the other two. Looks kind of cute, but I'm going to keep going just so more security. So now I have all of those little prongs folded up, and I'm going to go around with my nylon plier and kind of round all of those prongs over the cabochon. Now that we've set our cabochons and our little coin, we can start making them into rings. And to do that, you're going to need your ring mandrel. I'm going to twist it into my little vise that's attached to my desk here. And then you're going to need some wire. I have 20 and 24 gauge here. You're going to need your flush cutter. And then once you get your ring made, you'll need your chain nose plier. Let me just show you here on this example that I've done the same way. You can see I have my bead cap here, my cabochon here, and you're gonna stick your wire through them both. So it's kind of sandwiched in between, and then make just a basic ring. So let's start with our big turquoise cabochon. Cut about 2.5 feet of wire. I'm gonna go with 24. If you need to, you can use your tool to help get through. Okay. So once you get your wire through, you're going to make a basic wire wrapped ring where you set your piece on your ring mandrel, and you want to work about a size up from what you want your ring to be. So since I want mine to be an 8, I'm going to work over the 9. And I have both tails on either side. And I'm going to wrap each tail going opposite way towards each other once, twice, kind of pinch them together, and then 3 times. I'm going to cross over once more so my tails end up on the top. There's kind of a view from the side now that it's there. You want to make sure you keep tension, but it's hard sometimes, so it's okay. Okay, and now you're going to twist each piece around your mandrel. And if you need more instruction on this technique, we have a YouTube video on wire wrapped rings. Now take it off your mandrel. And now you have your 2 tails, and you're going to make small coils on either side. So I'm going to do this one first. 1, 2, 3, that. And then with my chain nose plier, I'm going to just tuck that little piece in so it doesn't scratch me or anything like that. And now on the other side, you're gonna do the same thing. Got my tail, I'm gonna do a few little wraps. And then cut it. And then use my chain nose plier to just wrap it down. Then, as always, you can go ahead and put it back on your mandrel if you need to shape it out. You can hammer it slightly if you need it to be a little bit bigger or anything like that. So I love my steel mandrel. Okay, so now you know how to make this. So I did another coin bezel because I know you guys have been asking about the gold on gold, and I think it looks really pretty. So I've already done my bezel. I'm gonna grab my 24 gauge wire and go ahead and do the basic wire wrap technique again. So if you need to, you can unfold your bezel to get your wire through if you've wrapped it too tight, like I did here. So just put your wire through. I'm gonna thread it back through one of those little holes in the back here. Fold this side back up and over. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so there you go. That's how you can make a bezel set cabochon or coin ring. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so let's go ahead and review the tools we used today. We have our flat nose, chain nose plier, our flush cutter, our nylon jaw plier, 24 gauge wire is what I ended up using, a bench block, and a chasing hammer, a ring mandrel, bead caps, filigree beads, and cabochons. If you'd like to pick up any of the tools or supplies we used today, check out the links in the description below. What would you set in your bezel ring? Would you do gemstones? Would you do coins? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell.